Namaste Starlights. If you're new here, thank you for joining me. My name is Camilla and I am a human. I am a licensed professional counselor and I am a certified spiritual coach. And I wanted to set an intention for today's video, and the intention is that 2025 you're going to begin to rest. So setting that intention as, I don't know, it's not a whole lot of smoke coming out, but we're setting that intention either way, that 2025 is the year we're going to rest Starlights. So what do I mean by that? What do I mean by we're going to rest? I think part of it is living in a Western society and a Western culture that is so focused on productivity. We've been conditioned to think that it's normal to work 40 hours a week, 40 plus hours a week, to have little time for play, for exploring ourselves, for connecting with others. And I think it's just a large part of the capitalistic society that we live in. I mean, I even myself have had moments where I've thought to myself that this is it. Like, I'm just going to work for the rest of my life and I won't get to retire and I just have to work to make a living. And that's a very depressing thought. We are built to be more than that. We as people, as spiritual beings having a human experience, we were created to experience the world, to play, to laugh, to just be happy, right? We were not created to just work the rest of our lives and then have this body expire and then that be it. Because it's this, even talking about it, it sounds so depressing, right? So this year, today, we're going to begin to rest Starlights. You deserve ease. You deserve comfort. You deserve peace in your life. So what does that look like? I'll put myself as an example. I'm a workaholic, right? So, as mentioned, I'm a therapist. I became licensed the end of 2023. And even that process within itself it required so much work, so much sacrifice. Just the whole process from grad school where I had to work a full-time job and then I was doing field work, so working 50, maybe 60-hour weeks, and then the process after that when you're unlicensed and you're working to get licensure. I think there's a lot of systemic issues in place where unlicensed therapists don't make enough to make a living. There was one point where I was working 7 days a week. Sunday through Saturday, I worked a full-time job Monday through Friday. This one paid the bills, paid down the debt, And then on Sunday and Saturday, I was seeing clients to meet my hours. Because when I was trying to do it full time, seeing clients, I wasn't making enough money. So I had to make a decision and get a job. I remember how it affected me mentally, emotionally, because it wasn't that long. It was once again, you know, well, I guess 2 years now, but it still feels very recent. And I just remember the amount of stress I was under. And fast forward to one of the reasons why I decided to make my own private practice. Now that within itself is a little bit tricky, right? Because, you know, when you're an entrepreneur, you kind of have to work more to work less. But I want and desire that freedom to have work be enjoyable. And I recognize I'm speaking from a place of privilege too, because not everyone can open a private practice or wants to, or be an entrepreneur in general, right? So it's finding other ways to incorporate rest. But even now, once again, I have to tell myself to take breaks, right? But we are not built for this. We are not made for this. I think it's important to rest when you can. What are you putting your energy into? And are those things fulfilling? And are those things nurturing? And are those things feeding yourself in a mental, an emotional, and spiritual way? What are you consuming media-wise, right? Are you consuming things that are going to rev you up, keep you agitated? Or are you consuming things that feed into you positively and encourage that rest? I always also encourage people to try and make some kind of mindfulness practice in your day. Because once again, we are so automatic. We're not used to taking a time out of the day to be still. That's why a lot of us have racing thoughts. A lot of us are thinking about what's the next thing to do while we're in the middle of something. When was the last time you simply just sat with yourself and just let it be? A lot of times it's maybe been a while, right? And once again, even I get caught up and guilty of, what was the last time I sat down and just was still for a little bit? So meditation, yoga, just going for a mindful walk, something to engage your five senses, something to help you be present, something to remind yourself that you are here, right? In the present. The project that you have due tomorrow is due tomorrow. And all we have literally is the present moment. Mindfulness, I love it because it's not just woo-woo, even though I'm a woo-woo person, and I'm the first to admit that. It's scientifically proven to help to regulate, to keep you grounded, to help manage depression and anxiety. I mean, there's plenty of benefits. So I always, once again, recommend incorporating a mindfulness activity in the beginning or evening of your day. Meditation is not for you, because it's not for everyone. Just, once again, doing something to engage your five senses fully. Rather it's reading a book, rather it's cooking. What are the scents you're smelling? How do utensils feel in your hand, right? You know, how does the spice taste on your tongue? So just doing that, just taking that little break from what you shoulda, coulda, woulda did or should be doing, and just be here. we are meant to experience the here and now. Another thing for rest, I realized, is also relationships. And once again, what type of energy are you investing in your relationships? Now, this isn't to say that every relationship is different. People have their moments. You're gonna have loved ones who may isolate for a little bit, you know, because they need to reserve their energy or regain their energy, or, you know, obviously, you know, with stuff like depression or trauma, you know, those diagnoses, people with those diagnoses may isolate at times. And so it's really just communicating and gauging where the other person is at. But outside of that, evaluating what is the energy you're investing in your relationships. Now, there's people needing your energy, right? Are they putting out the same type of energy you're giving to them? And if they're not, then it goes into kind of evaluating, is this relationship meeting your needs? You know, relationships within themselves should be restful, right? Like, they shouldn't take up, like, they shouldn't feel like another job, essentially, right? That's not the intention of our connections with others. Our connections with others are meant to add more fulfillment to our lives and add peace. And we're supposed to be seen in our relationships. So if you're putting a lot of energy into it and not resting with this person, then that's something to think about. It's also important to learn the concept of surrender, which is a hard one. Especially for people who are type A, like, once again, I can relate to that, right? But surrendering to the notion that the universe has you. The universe got it, right? Universe, God, higher power, however you choose to identify with that power outside of yourself. They have it. And for me, it's really been, it's a tough journey to just be okay with just letting things be. For example, my car. Okay, I've had my car since 2016. All right, and when I got my car, it was already used, and it's a 2008. Okay, so it's old. It's an old car. It's not new at this point whatsoever. And that car was already kind of a little over 100,000 when I got it. I needed a car to get me to point A to point B. Okay, that car has gotten me to from Virginia to Colorado, from Colorado back to Virginia. It has survived whiteout snowstorms, right? A car is not made for the snow, but it made it for those 3 years. And last year, my car was giving me a lot of trouble. Once again, it was bound to happen because it's on the older side. Last year, I had to pay about $700 some to get the hood fixed because the hood wouldn't pop open. So I couldn't get my oil changed, so that had to be done. I had parked my car when I got my retwist one day, and when I came back out, the passenger mirror was hanging by the wire. So it's like someone hit my car but didn't. So in Virginia, you have state inspection, so I'm going to fail it. this year unless I fix it or get a new car. So in my head, I'm like, okay, I'll pay to fix it at some point. Once again, that's going to cost probably another couple of $100s. And then about a week and a half now, maybe 2 weeks, my check engine light came on. And I ran a diagnostic, and I was told it was the gas cap, and I tightened it. Check engine light did not go off. I bought a new gas cap just in case. Tried it, engine light did not go off. So I'm at a point where it's like I gotta, once again, either fix all these things or get a new car. And I told like this story because can be a very stressed person. This is putting it out there. And when it first happened, when I first saw that check engine light, I remember the tightening of like the, oh, okay, like there's some other crap going on with my car that I have to deal with. But then I gave it a moment and I just surrendered. And I was like, all right, universe. Once again, either I'm gonna fix this car or I'm going to just buy a new car, and there's nothing much that's in my control right now. Those are my two options. So there's no point in stressing about it. I surrendered the outcome to the universe. And once again, that's difficult to do. There's the concept of radical acceptance, which says you don't have to like what's happening, but accepting it helps with mental distress. And I think that's a very beneficial tool to have when it comes to rest, because sometimes things aren't going to be going the way they should be going, right? Once again, your car is going to give you issues. You're going to have a bad day at work. You're going to have tumultuous events happen in your relationships. Life is just going to life, and that's an undeniable fact that we have to deal with. Once again, being spiritual beings, having a human experience, we're going to have human things happen. When we resist what's happening, it causes that distress. Why is this happening to me? Like, why me? This keeps happening. I don't want this to happen. And of course we don't want it to happen. And we examine what we can do in the moment and then surrender the rest to the universe. We are taking it easy, Starlights. You deserve ease in your life. You deserve comfort. You deserve rest. When your body feels tired and you've been working overtime, take a nap. If something isn't going right, allow yourself to feel the feelings, cry, get upset, and then evaluate, what am I going to do now? And surrender the rest to the universe. Not forcing anything to happen. You're not making a square fit into a circle anymore. We're resting. You're resting, Starlight. You deserve rest. And if you don't, your body's gonna tell you. As I've shared on my channel, I have multiple sclerosis. So if you're like me and you have a chronic illness, rest no longer becomes an option. It no longer becomes something that we get to do if we have the time. Our body tells us we have to. So, chronic illness or not, you should rest. But if you have a chronic illness, it was probably your body's way of telling you you needed to rest. Because part of my story that I shared in the video of my diagnosis story is that I was very, very stressed in that period of time. The journal entry, the day before I had all my health stuff going on and got diagnosed with MS a couple days later, said, I am stressed. I kid you not. And then a couple days later, I get diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. And this isn't a fear tactic, but more so of, we think we have the luxury of thinking that rest is optional, and that once again we'll get to it when we get to it. But sometimes our bodies, once again, they'll tell it for us that we need to. So we're resting this year, and we're allowing ease to come into our life, and we are getting rid of anything that doesn't come with ease into our life. You deserve that. As always, Starlights, thank you for joining me for another video. If you like this video, if you want to hear more stuff on it, please feel free to drop a comment. I would love to hear how you plan on resting in 2025. Let me know. And if you haven't already, please feel free to subscribe, to like this video, and check out my other socials as well. And as always, I will see you in the next video. Namaste.